Now, I promised you some extraordinary, exclusive footage of some of the migrant camps outside Calais. And as I'm talking, just look at some of this footage that I've secured from a drone with very high quality camera lenses. And you can see there, these are some of the migrant camps, and I think the footage will just start to rotate. This, as I say, is secured by a drone. These are hundreds of tents that are in the sort of the scrub, the woodlands, just literally outside Calais. So not exactly hidden, not that hard to find. There you can see, look at that, right by the lorries. So if they're not going on the boats, you can see how easy it is to get to the lorries and to try and get into the lorries to come across the channel. And we'll just move on now. I think we've got one of the migrants actually spotted the drone, and we came quite close up into him. I think we'll see that in a minute where he is, and you may be able to see there that he's actually waving at the drone. He's waving at you. And as I say, this footage shows dozens and dozens and dozens of tents all around Calais. And you might think, hang on, we sent hundreds of millions of pounds to the French government, the French authorities, to stop this, to deal with this. How can it be so easy that they're still camping there all over the place, right by houses? Well, if they know where they are, maybe it's probably no surprise. I think that there is a picture of them. Here they are, they're playing football. Well, you might say that's a very nice thing to do. It's a great sport, of course. But this is literally, they're not even hiding. They're playing in plain sight. Now, if I can secure this with a couple of lads and a drone, it doesn't seem to me that you need hundreds of millions of pounds to find out who they are, where they are. You should be picking them up. You should be processing them. You should be stopping them from crossing the channel. With all the other news, it's barely featured that on Sunday, 615 migrants crossed the channel in some 12 boats. There we are. Over the weekend, that's 12 boats that got across. There's another 7 boats over the weekend with some 200 illegal migrants that got into some difficulties. No surprise, it's November. It's pretty tidal out there. It's pretty cold. They got into trouble. They secured rescues from the French. Well, if the French can rescue those in trouble, my simple question is, why can't they rescue those who've illegally left France? Well, I'm delighted to be joined now in the studio by Sue Reed, Special Investigations Editor at the Daily Mail, to explore this. Sue, you've been on this subject for a very long time. I guess that footage, it might be interesting and new to our viewers and listeners. You've sort of seen it all before, but does it surprise you how much is still there?
I'm afraid it doesn't. I'm not taking away your scoop, but I'm not surprised because it literally has grown from 20 years ago when there were 400 people and now we've got 4,000 there. But it's not the 4,000 just there. It's the 4,000 further back, right through France, waiting to come up to the forward camp,
Absolutely.
ready to get the boats, then through Germany and so on. And believe me, I've spoken to hundreds of individual migrants over the years, and the word on their lips is London. And they think London is the UK. You understand?
So course,
they all say London.
They've heard of London. But if that's just around Calais, then you've got all across 20, 30 miles either side of Calais.
Yes.
You've got more tents like that. I mean, if we had time, we'd send a drone all over
Paris.
the place.
Paris is full of holding camps.
Holding camps.
Yes.
So we're seeing more footage here of these camps. So this scene, if we had drones up and down 30 miles either side of Calais, you would see this everywhere. That's right, isn't it?
Well, you'd certainly see people not in tents, but certainly getting on buses, free buses, from just near here to the beaches and going through the undergrowth, the forests, and waiting for the pickups from the boats that are now very like taxi services.
Absolutely right. And there's a sort of taxi service to the halfway point, and then we pick them up and take them the rest of the journey. Talk to me about the Schengen issue, because obviously Schengen was the within the EU was the sort of the joy, the jewel in the crown of being able to move freely, happily amongst all the nations. What's happening with Schengen?
Well, it's actually very, very interesting because, and these are from the EU papers, but 11 countries within the Schengen area have now checking their borders. Some have got static border posts, from Slovakia to Germany to France to Italy, because they say that their sovereignty is now important again, their people have to be protected, they're expecting Hamas terrorists to come in among the migrants, and of course if the Hamas migrants come to Europe, you can be sure they're going to be in these tents very soon.
Absolutely.
And we have no idea who is coming into this country.
We've no idea who's coming. But you're saying that the Schengen zone, essentially, it's under threat. 11 nations are closing them, and that will continue.
Well, as Meloni says in Italy, the Prime Minister of Italy, she says it's shattering, it's breaking up.
It is. I think that they've got no choice, frankly, is my view. They've got no choice but to shut the borders. Sue Reid, thank you so much for coming in and sharing those thoughts. Absolutely fascinating.